Ever feel like life's just one giant shit show after another? Like you're juggling chainsaws and just waiting for one to slice you open? I get it. I've been there. And let me tell you, it's freaking exhausting. Rewind to 2013. I'm strutting around telling everyone that I'm living my best life. Great job, nice apartment, a roommate I love. Oh, and a healthy dose of booze and drugs because YOLO. And suddenly, bam, life drop kicks me in the face. 2 weeks, that's all it took. Car was totaled. Dream condo, landlord selling it. That cushy ocean view job with the stocked fridge. Poof, bankruptcy. But here's the real mindfuck. Those moments when everything goes to shit, they're actually clearing the runway for something epic. You just can't see it when you're knee deep in the crap. So fast forward 2 weeks. I'm stuck in town for the holidays, packing up my life instead of sipping eggnog with my family. And guess what? I meet my future husband. Literally. Suddenly I have all the time in the world to fall head over heels. No rent to worry about means that I can crash at his place without a second thought. And with my newfound free time, I even start helping out with his home business while planting seeds for my own. But listen, if you're too busy throwing a pity party about how life is screwing you over, you'll miss the golden ticket staring at you in the face. You'll be so focused on what you've lost that you won't see what you could gain. We have this screwed up idea that planning means micromanaging every detail of our lives. Well, it doesn't. Real planning is about preparing yourself for who you're becoming. It's about getting your head right so when opportunity comes knocking, you're ready to kick down the damn door. You have to focus on being your goals, not just doing them. Even when your life looks like a dumpster fire and everything seems to be going to crap, it's about holding on to that vision of who you want to be, even when your current reality is giving you the finger. And when you can do that, when you can trust in the process and keep moving forward, it's only a matter of time before everything falls into place. And I know this sounds like some woo-woo BS when you're in the thick of it. When your bank account is in the red, or your relationships are on the rocks, and it feels like the world is conspiring against you. But trust me, this is when the real work happens. This is when you decide who you're going to be when you come out on the other side. So it's not about ignoring reality or pretending everything's fine when it's not. It's about acknowledging the shit show around you while still holding on to the belief that you're capable of more. It's about looking at your life and saying, yeah, this sucks right now, but it is not the end of my story. So the next time life throws you a curveball, and trust me, it will, take a deep breath. Remember that this moment, as shitty as it might be, is making space for something new. Something that might just blow your mind if you're open to it. So let me ask you a question. Are you ready to stop fighting against the current and start flowing with it? Are you willing to trust that even in your darkest moments, there's a light at the end of the tunnel? Because that's where the magic happens. That's where you start creating a life beyond your wildest dreams. And in the meantime, this episode is going to be your secret weapon for holding that state of being when your nervous system just wants to tap out. Our guest is my friend Sam Skelly. She's been on the show a few times, so you might know her by now. Search our past episodes if you want to. Oh, and by the way, a little trick for finding any episode you want. In your Google search bar, type mindlove.com and then the space bar, and then any keyword or phrase. Your search results will be anything from the Mind Love website, and it will pull up all of the episodes related to that. You're welcome. Sam Skelly is a 7-figure entrepreneur, best-selling author, and wellness coaching expert. She founded both Hungry for Happiness and Pause Breathwork, which has a mission to help people clear anxiety and stress through the power of breath. She's revolutionized both the weight loss and self-help industries by examining the individual and the underlying causes of food, body, and self-love issues. So 3 key things we will learn are how to turn a crisis into a divine breakthrough, why energetic alignment is more crucial than time management and how to find it, and a simple free tool to manage stress and anxiety. Before we go deep today, I want to give you a little gift, and I want to give it to you every single day. It's called the Morning Mind Love. I know how life can be. You're all fired up after an inspiring episode, and then a new day or a new challenge comes at you, and it's just hard to keep up that energy. Well, the Morning Mind Love is kind of like an oracle from your higher self to help you start each day with a positive focus. Plus, when you sign up, you get 2 free gifts: a 30-minute binaural meditation and 30 days of journaling prompts to help you remember who you truly are. And it's all completely free. So join over 9,000 people and go to mindlove.com to sign up or text the word morning to 33777.
Doing exposure therapy and like putting ourselves in situations that inevitably will change builds up that resilience to go, wait a second, nothing is stagnant in the world. Everything changes. Those relationships will change. The business will change. The kids will change. And like, you have two little ones, you see it. They're changing every single day. And so, how can we increase our capacity for change so that it doesn't spin us out and we lose our alignment? Because as soon as we lose our alignment, it's like, it's done.
Turn up your frequency with Mind Love. Bite-sized brain hacks for seekers, dreamers, and doers. It's time to give your mind a little love with your host, Melissa Monti.
So what has been real for you? You're just such an inspiring businesswoman. Just watching the moves that you make, seeing how you handle decisions. I saw recently you were like, let's get back to the live breath work on social. So tell me what's been on your mind and how are you crafting this experience for yourself?
Hmm. You know, what I've found to be so interesting in this 15-year journey of being an entrepreneur and just like feeling into all of the different seasons and different cycles is at times it could be so intoxicating to take our eye off of what we actually care about because it's so busy and we get so distracted. And I had this breakthrough a couple months ago where I was like, I just really want to get back to the whole reason why I started Pause in the first place, which was because I freaking love breath work. Like, I love breath work. And the mission that is on my life is to wake the world up through the power of breath work. And I loved it. And the whole reason why the company exploded in those early days so quickly is because of just like the passion that oozed from every single cell of my body. And so it's just interesting the cycles and seasons of business as your business grows and there's more responsibility, there's more people, there's more moving parts. As a CEO, we can kind of sometimes get caught in all of the details or all of the weeds, or I can get caught in all the details and all the weeds. And it's just a really important reminder that energy is everything. And when we prioritize the energetics of the mission and of the vision above everything else, we get to infuse that in the culture, we get to infuse that in the business. And that is the thing that truly allows companies to thrive and to be profitable and to have like power amongst all of the members who are building the mission. And so, yeah, I had that awakening a couple months ago where I was like, I want to get back to doing the thing that I love most and the thing that launched this thing to the moon in the first place.
Yeah, I have found that it's so easy, especially if you know about business and strategy, it's easy to get caught up in the this could work or this will work or this is the next logical move. And I think it's so important and it's something that I have to consistently remind myself is like, okay, what is the next move that I see? Okay, is that from my own vision or is that from
Yes.
the vision that I see works for other people or what I think should happen because of what I know about marketing or growth or whatever? And it's like, but would that actually make me happy? And so often people end up in this situation where they've been following the next logical step or even the brilliant next growth move, but then they end up in a situation where they're almost trapped by what they've created.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, when you are chasing shiny balls and you're kind of looking outside of yourself to trends or other business owners or other companies to be like, what are they doing? Let me just do what they're doing. And we completely miss the point because the magic is not in the latest trend or marketing strategy or the like innovative thing that another company is doing. The magic is in the alignment with our soul and truly bringing forth that essence of who we really are to the marketplace. That is the most powerful and potent thing that there possibly is. And when we get with that and we really know and embody that, then we're not in hustle mode. We're not in fear. We're not in lack. We realize that my energetics are the most powerful thing that is going to make or break this thing. And the greatest responsibility that I have in the expansion of this mission is not how much time I spend on social media or how great my photos are or how whatever. It's who am I being energetically, moment by moment, day by day, breath by breath? And am I truly operating in alignment with what I actually desire and I actually want and what makes me feel fulfilled? And sometimes we miss the point and we get caught in the distraction, the shiny balls. And if we're not in self consent with ourselves, that can spiral really easily. And so it's really important for, and not just the founder of the organization, but of every single team member of the organization. Like, am I operating from alignment? Am I operating from power? Am I operating from my truth? Because it can't just be one person in the entire organization. It has to be, it must be every single person in their power, in their truth, in their alignment, because it's like 1 + 1 = 11 at that point, right? When everyone is operating from that place and there isn't this like hierarchy, sort of funky, energetic dynamic, power dynamic thing happening, but there's just like collaboration and coherence, and we're all like aligned with what feels great for this culture, for this organization. There's going to be traction, there's going to be growth, there's going to be profitability, there's going to be impact, there's going to be transformation. And then, at pause, we just say the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets. But energy is such an important factor in that whole structure.
Say you were hired by a corporation and
Yeah.
the CEO saw you speak or whatever, knew who you were, and he just realized his team looked a little bit burnt out or lacking motivation.
Yeah.
What would you do? Like, what would be your prescription of turning that around?
Burnout is a symptom of us being at odds with our soul, simply put. Burnout is not because we're doing so many things and we're tired because like when I am fully aligned with my soul and what I'm here to do, I am not tired even if I work 20 hours a day. Like the days that I speak on stages, for instance, it's like, yeah, I'm working like 20 hours a day by the time I like get up, go to makeup, go to hair, go to practice my thing, like connect with people, get on stage, get off stage, talk to people, network, connect, blah, blah, blah. Like I am like going all day, but I couldn't be happier, So it's not the amount of work that we're doing, it's the energetic place that we're coming from. And that's a big difference as well. It's like oftentimes the work doesn't change necessarily, but it's how are we showing up to it? And what are the like burnout is caused by like a kink in energy or resentment towards ourselves or guilt or shame or disconnection or just harboring feelings and harboring, like that's what ultimately creates burnout. So if I was to go into an organization and I'm looking at 20 executives who are burnt out, stressed out, I would bring it back. It wouldn't even be about the business. I would go right directly to talking about energy, talking about things unsaid, talking about where are you crossing your own boundaries? Where are you not in self consent with yourself? Where are you not rising into your leadership? Like, how are you taking care of yourself? Because those are all the things that contribute to, what we know as burnout.
I remember hearing someone say the difference between time management and energy management, like right when I was starting Mind Love. And at first I was like, oh, this is one of those things people say that's a blatant lie so they can sell you something. And then I actually started living into my purpose and I was like, oh, this is 100% true.
Mhm.
And then I specifically remember I was speaking at Podcast Movement and I had actually just shared the stage with Pat Flynn. This was only like 7 months after I launched my podcast. And so I went from like nothing, like thinking I need to find a purpose and then having this idea and feeling really in line and then launching it and everything going so well and it being one of the fastest growing independent podcasts that year. And then all of a sudden I'm speaking on a stage and it was like my life unfolded so rapidly. My dreams unfolded so rapidly. And then I was at Podcast Movement and I just remember waking up and I was like, oh my gosh, I am completely burnt out. And then I thought, wait, everything was a lie. I felt like once I found the thing, then I was going to tap into this unlimited energy. And then I felt like I did. And then all of a sudden I was experiencing burnout. But it took me too long to realize it. I went through like 2 months of like getting in my head, almost destroying all the work that I had done, thinking,
Yeah.
okay, maybe I'm not meant for success. Maybe it's not sustainable for me. Here's my ADHD again, now that it's not new and exciting.
Mhm.
And I was neglecting that inner
Mm.
walk, the
Mm.
connection with myself again. And so even though on the outside everything looked about the same, the energy I
Right.
was coming from it was different because
Absolutely.
it was like, I got to keep going so I don't lose this. And I have to stay up and drink with people so that they remember me. There
Yep.
was just a lot of lack. And I could have done the exact same things from a different place of like, I'm going to go to this thing because the abundance of connection lights me up versus I have to go to this thing so that people don't forget
Yeah.
who I am. And so it would have all looked exactly the same. But again, it was the energy I was
There it
creating
is.
from. And all I had to do was come back to myself. I took a very intentional, like 1 week break where I was coming back, journaling, and recreating that flow. And again, all the steps look the same. It was just the why behind it was different.
Absolutely.
You know what's funny? We spend so much time feeding our minds, reading books, listening to podcasts, learning new things, but then we grab whatever's convenient to feed our bodies. And I get it. Life is busy, and sometimes a drive-through feels like the only option. But that's why I take Field of Greens. It's a greens powder made with whole organic fruits and vegetables. No extracts, no lab-made stuff, and just 1 scoop a day gives you simple, real nutrition. Field of Greens feeds your body with fruits and vegetables medically chosen to support your heart, vital organs, and immune system. And let me tell you something. Since I started taking it, I've noticed these little changes that show me how nutrient depleted I must have been before. Like the ridges in my nails, gone. My sleep, so much better. And my stomach just feels happy. You know that dreaded afternoon crash that has you reaching for more coffee or sugary snacks? Well, that's not happening for me anymore. When your body is actually nourished, it runs so much better. I've tried other greens powders before, but Field of Greens is genuinely different. The quality is next level and you can taste it. It's become my go-to, especially on those days when my eating isn't exactly Instagram worthy, because we all have those days, right? And here's the thing. They are so confident that you'll love it too, that they offer a 100% money-back guarantee. That's how much they believe in their product. So I got you 15% off your first order and free rush shipping. Visit fieldofgreens.com and use promo code MINDLOVE. That's promo code MINDLOVE at fieldofgreens.com. Fieldofgreens.com. I don't know why it took me so long to invest in good bedding. I resisted it for years, but something flipped in me about 3 years ago. And now I'm basically a pillow connoisseur. I've tried them all, and I get weirdly excited about good bedding. Because here's the thing, we spend a third of our lives in bed, and the quality of that time affects literally everything else, which is why I'm so excited to tell you about my latest obsession, Lagoon Sleep Pillows. What sets them apart is their matching system. You take a quick 2-minute quiz about your sleep style and your preferences, and then they match you with your perfect pillow. I was matched with their Otter pillow, and I am so impressed. Lately, I've just needed more support, and this seems to cradle me in all the right places. I'm also low-key obsessed with their travel pillow, which I use for way more than just travel. I actually hug it, use it as leg support, and of course, take it on trips with me. Well, the secret is in their adjustable fill. You can add or remove it to get that perfect alignment for your spine. A study even found that the right supportive pillow can improve sleep quality by 63%. And Lagoon lets you try their matched pillow for 100 nights risk-free. Free returns, no questions asked. Falling asleep has never been easier. I toss and turn less and just wake up feeling refreshed every morning. Go to lagoonsleep.com and take their awesome 2-minute sleep quiz to find your match. Use the code MIND for 15% off your first purchase.
Absolutely. It's really interesting to see members of my team in different roles, right? So for instance, like director of experience, right? That role is responsible for the experience essentially of our entire student base. Like, do they feel seen? Do they feel heard? Are they progressing? Are they learning? Are they becoming amazing breathwork facilitators? And to date now, I've had 4 different people in that role. And what's so amazing to see is it's the same role, the same responsibilities, the same line items, the same everything. But the experience of each individual person based on their identity, based on their energetic come from, based on their vision, based on their heart, it's 4 completely different experiences. And the woman that I have in place now, like she is not, like, nothing messes with her. It's so wild. Like, she's responsible for the experience of like 400 people simultaneously. And for most people, that's like, well, it's way too much. But she thrives on it. She loves it. She's calm. Like, her nervous system is regulated because she's coming from this place of just this grounded love constantly. And so the tasks that she's doing are coming from this place of grounded love. And it's less about what we do and way more about the energetic birthplace of where that thing comes from, because it's going to ripple, right? So it's like, if I'm writing a post on Instagram and I'm like, oh, this content is flowing through me. It's so inspired, and the words are coming out. And I'm like, oh, I love how that sounds, and I'm thinking about the impact that it's going to create, and I'm just having this like beautiful, aligned, powerful, creative moment that I'm not expecting anything from. Those are the pieces of content that blow up. If I'm doing it from a place of like, I got to get this content out because I got to make a sale, because I got to do this, and the energy is contracted, people feel that at the energetic birthplace that it was created in, whether we know it logically or not. We feel that. And so it's like, oh, there's something like off about this. And so energetic alignment is so important. And really, as women, tapping into our feminine energetics in business is so important. We live in a world where business has been modeled in the masculine way for so long. Let me be clear about that. Business has been modeled from the distorted masculine way for so long. Fear, lack, greed, control, all sorts of things. And there's a new way emerging, which is this feminine leadership, which really embodies alignment and coherence and just like power and collaboration. And it's just so powerful, but it hasn't really been modeled. It's like when I was first starting to really shift from like the old way of doing business, which is what I learned from masculine mentors, into this new way, I kind of looked at the marketplace, or like our peers and colleagues and things like that, and I'm like, who's doing business in a way that I actually want to do it? It was really hard to find people. And so I remember sitting in meditation, and the message that came in was just like, be the example, just do it. Like, however you want to do it, however you think it can be done based on your intuition, just start doing it that way. And so that was 2020. I was living that was like 2021 where I really like owned it. 2019, I was like, this is what I want to do. And I was making strides, but I was still pretty wobbly because it's like I knew how to get results in the distorted masculine way because I did it for so long. Like when I was running Hungry for Happiness, right? I knew how to do that. But doing it in this new way where I prioritize energy over strategy, I feel aligned. I feel like I'm not gripping so much. I'm just trusting more, and I'm empowering people in my company to do what they do best. And I'm not like micromanaging it. I'm just like letting people let their gifts come into the organization and have an impact on our mission. It feels so much easier, and the results are so much better. So it's been a complete reorientation of how I've done business, but it's been amazing. And I am human AF. And so there's times where business does feel like, oh my gosh, it feels a little bit scary. And the tendency for my awareness is to go back to what I've always done. But that's not the lesson here. The lesson is, even when it feels scary, even when you're in a contraction, even when it's uncertain, even when you don't know your head from your ass, even when, can you still trust? Can you still be in alignment? Can you still prioritize energy over strategy? Can you still let your energetics be your number one job above anything else? And that's the work. Because it's easy to do it when things are like revenue's high, we're profitable, everything's amazing. That's easy. Can you do it when it's hard? Can you do it when it's uncertain? And like that's the greatest lesson of all.
Walk me through your process. Say you're at a point where you feel yourself pushing, clinging, whatever those feelings are. How do you balance the emotional, like psychological, and the physical? Like, where do you use breath work in that process to come back to a different state for the decision making? Just walk me through it.
Yeah, so I was going through like a really hard time earlier this year. There were just so many things going on. And for the first time in a long time, I was waking up with a lot of anxiety, which is, I'm like, whoa, like I haven't experienced this in like a long time. And so I would wake up and I would just play wherever I was feeling the pain, wherever I was feeling contracted, I would just place my hands on that part of my body. And for me, it was like my chest and my solar plexus. And I would lie on my back and I would just breathe like, and I would just allow myself to fully breathe and drop into those parts of my body. And as I was breathing, I was just allowing myself to fully feel. And sometimes that would be like a cry. Like, I just need to cry because I just need to release this energy because it's just bound and stuck in my system. And so I would start the morning with like when I'm in that contraction, I would start the morning before I even got out of bed. I would start the morning with breath work and energy work, feeling through those contractions to liberate them back into wholeness. Because if we want to feel better, we have to be better feelers. We can't let the mind hijack and like, what should we do about this? Or what am I going to do? Like, if we do that, we just keep spinning and spinning and spinning ourselves in the direction that we don't want to be in. So it's really truly about allowing yourself to fully feel whatever is present, whatever is there. And that would be the first thing. And the second thing, I would get up and I would go to the couch and I would grab my journal and I would write out like whatever I was stressed out about, I would write out the antidote, like the true antidote. Like what's the opposite of that? Like the truth is I'm fully supported. The truth is I have an amazing team. The truth is I have experts on my team who know exactly what they're doing. The truth is God's never dropped me. The truth is I have an amazing fiance who just is so supportive and always there for me moment by moment. The truth is my family's there to support me. The truth is we have a community of 150,000 breathwork facilitators. The truth is we have thousands of people who are certified who've already gone through our programs. If I did it once, I can do it again. It's like, and I keep going and going and going. Like the truth is we have this app where, there's thousands of people on there every single day breathing and changing their life. The truth is like, I just keep like, I like Abraham Hicks calls it, are you familiar with Abraham Hicks?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So she calls it a rampage. He, whatever, calls it a rampage. It's just like, you just keep going and going and going and building momentum. Like the truth is this, the truth is that, the truth is this, the truth. And so that then becomes the antidote to whatever stress I'm feeling in my body. And I just flood my system of gratitude. And I flood my system of like, what is the truth? And then I go back to my vision of like, okay, we're in this phase where like it feels really freaking hard. And guess what? It's supposed to. It's not actually supposed to be butterflies and roses and linear profitable growth month over month for the rest of our lives. Like that's not even like that's not it. like businesses have contractions, people have contractions, shit happen, whatever. And so it's just really zooming out and going like, all right, what's the greater vision that's on my life? The greater vision that's on my life is I am here to bring breathwork to the world. Great. And like, what does that look like in 10 years when that vision is actualized? And I bring myself to that place. I like forecast that. I call it future casting, where I like go into the future and I cast exactly what's going to happen. And I just settle into that reality, and that feels so energizing because here's the thing about energy is if we're in a contraction because we're scared about something that's happening, or maybe it hasn't happened, but you think it's going to happen and your energy drops, then as soon as your energy drops, you're creating reality from that vibration, whether you know it or not. And so the greatest thing that we can do is when we feel that fear, when we feel that contraction is like, clean the slate, get the energy up, even though the reality has not caught up. Because when we do that and we get ourselves into a powerful, abundant, aligned, loving state, that's what's going to create the reality. Like the reality of what's present in this moment right here, right now, has everything to do with my energetics of the last couple months. That's what created this. And so if I don't like this, whatever this is right now, then I have to fundamentally make a decision to go, I am up leveling my energetics in this moment because I want to see a future that I'm excited about. And that is a challenge when the reality isn't quite there, because the humans are like, I'll only feel this when this happens. Like, as soon as that $1 million month comes in, I will be happy. No, no, no. You have to embody that version of you that already had the $1 million month, already had the profitable month. Like, you already have it. It's already here. Because what that's doing then is it's informing the universe, like, this is what they want. It's like we're putting in orders to the universe every moment. We attract what we fear. So if we're afraid that something's going to happen, of course, you're just building energy, you're building momentum. So the question that we get to ask ourselves is, where is our momentum going? Is our momentum going in the direction of expansion and abundance, or is the momentum going in the direction of scarcity and fear? Only you know that. So I hope that answered your question.
I'm just going to take that monologue and sell it as its own monologue for people on the side. I have been having so many similar conversations. I was just saying yes, yes, yes to everything you were saying. My husband's an entrepreneur too, and we really started at nothing together, like living in
Which
the
is so
tiniest studio apartment, like putting everything on credit cards at certain points. And his business, we were actually like playing with Venmo, like Venmoing each other so that we could only pay 3% of that cash advance from the credit card, then the 20%, 29%, and then I'd cash it out, give it to him to pay his employee. It was like a whole.
Oh, we hustling, girl.
And now we're at such a beautiful place. And just the other day, for example, now the problems are different. It's like, well, do I hire this other person versus this person? What about this growth? How are we going to handle these incoming jobs? All these other problems that are stressful. And we coach each other. And so
Right.
whoever needs the boost, the other person becomes the coach. And I was just like, hold on a second. Can we step out of the have to do into the get to do here?
Yes.
What if your only job right now is not to figure out how to put out all these fires, but to show the universe that you can handle all of this. You can maintain this energy. Right now, we're not figuring out how to get more done. We're figuring out how to expand your energy. Your goal is to become the CEO of $100 million company. So show the universe that you can handle $100 million problems at this stage right here.
100%. 100%. Business is a never-ending black hole of problems. End of story. Business is a never-ending black hole of problems. So we have to fundamentally love the art of solving problems every single day, because that's all we're doing every single day is we're solving problems. It's not all it is, obviously. There's beauty to it. We get to hang out together and do podcasts like this, and we get to speak on stage and run retreats. You have a retreat coming up, right? It's like, that's the joy. It's like, oh my God. And it's not all that. But are the problems bad? No. Are the problems unfortunate? No. It's part of what we've signed up for. So who do I have to be as a leader to not take those problems so personally and seriously and just go like, oh, there's an issue right here. What's the solution? Issue, solution. Don't internalize it. Don't self-sabotage. Don't make it personal. Don't like start thinking doomsday, like, oh my God, I got to move home to Canada and live in my mom's basement. I'm like, what is she going to feed me? And she can like, no. And I know we all go there, right? That like existential thinking, like, oh my God, it's all done. Like the amount of times over the last 15 years, I'm like, it's over. It's officially done. I fucked this up. And then like 5 minutes later, I'm like, oh my God, I'm amazing. Like, look at what I've done. It's like, that's like the psychopath nature of being a CEO sometimes, or a founder, or an executive. Even if you're an executive working in a business and you're tied to the profit or the revenue in some way, it's still the same thing. Like we get into these mindsets sometimes where it's like, oh my God, it's all falling apart. And you know what? Yeah, maybe some of it is and has to, because there's something else coming that you can't see yet. And that something else is going to be so much greater than the current thing. And you don't know it yet. So the universe is like, whoop, let me take that out of your way. Because whatever, like, we need to create space. And you're like, oh my God, I feel naked. What's happening? I feel so exposed. I feel so scared. I feel so uncertain. And then 5 minutes later, you're like, oh my God, thank you so much for that. November, I was in Florida with Eric's family, my fiance, and it was Thanksgiving. We like woke up on Thanksgiving Day and we're like, let's get a workout in before we like eat a bunch of turkey. So we go to the gym and I'm like lifting some weights, and all of a sudden I get a video from one of my leadership team members, and I'm like, that's weird. Like, why is he sending me? Why is he texting me a video? And in between sets, I was like, maybe he's saying Happy Thanksgiving, right? He wasn't saying Happy Thanksgiving, just so you guys know. He's like, hey, I am done. I'm done. My role here is complete. My journey here is complete. Thank you so much. I am complete. And he played a big role. He was overseeing both sales and marketing at the time. And I was devastated. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, there were so many moments where I was having a shower and I was just like, I think I'm done. Like, I think this is where it ends. This is the end of the road. And then my higher self would come in and go, don't be crazy. Like, this is happening for you in perfect timing. And you're gonna be given something so much greater, so much more aligned. And so now, like I shared before we started recording, I'm in Austin right now with my leadership team. And I was sitting at dinner last night, and there was myself and Eric, my COO, my director of sales, my CMO, and my director of experience. And I just looked around the table and I was like, thank goodness the universe swiped him out of my life, because I would have never connected with these two people, my CMO and my director of sales, who are so intelligent, such a culture fit, so fun to work with, just brilliant, all in humans. And that would have never been the case. And now these people came in because we're about to have our next expansion and like growth spurt. And the previous person, I love him, he's amazing, but it would have been a lot for him. So it's like everything is happening in divine timing. Like, there's such a divine nature to every single moment. And when we look back in hindsight, we can see that. Now the question becomes, how do we just remember that when we're going through it? So when those things occur in our life, it's like, I can't wait to see why this is happening right now for me, because everything is divine and perfect.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
I think back to 2012, 2013. So those 2 years, I really felt like I was thriving. Ironically, I was doing a crap ton of drugs and partying a lot, but I thought I was living my best life. I remember I loved my roommate. I loved where I lived. I had a good job that got like a lot of bonuses, a good salary, and I was just like going to festivals, living my best 20s life. And then within a 3-week period of time, I crashed my car during a window. I didn't have insurance. My landlord said she's selling our place, and my company was shutting down. And everyone was just like, are you freaking out or what? And
No
I had already
way.
been through my biggest trauma, and it was a lot more painful than this. And so I was just like, maybe it was the fact that I was on copious amounts of MDMA that I was just like, well, the universe will deliver. And it was that December that it happened. I had to move out by January 1st. And so then I was like, I can't go up north I couldn't visit family because I had to move out. And so I just like came to Big Bear for the first time ever, or the second time ever, and ended up meeting my husband. And the thing is I didn't have a job or a place to live. I was staying with a friend. And so I could just come up here all the time. And we ended up falling in love. That would have only happened if my world hadn't shut down where I was before. But at the same time, then the series of unfolding, the amount of times I just step back and it's like, I don't know if I ever would have stepped into my potential if I was with somebody else. I even think back to like, your high school crush where you're just like, oh, what would have happened? It's like, I would have become nothing had I ended up with him. Like, I mean, that sounds a little harsh, but
For sure.
so many evolutions happened being with my husband. He's just such a, like, he's been working on the same business since his early 20s. I was a new shiny girl. So watching him just show up, even when the money wasn't there, triggered something in me. Not to mention the things I would get in my head about when I was launching my business was I would get like hyper focused on the little like trying to build my website, even though I wasn't that great at it back then. And then he just can give me a digital presence since that's what he does for a living. Like everything about my potential burst open when I entered that relationship. And it was because I was okay with creating the space. I wasn't sitting there freaking out, obsessively looking for other jobs. I just was like, I'm going to trust the universe with this one. And I followed the signs. And it just reminds me of like you don't cling to your baby teeth if you want a bright, beautiful adult smile. You know?
Ooh, that's a good one. That'd be so weird if we tried that. No, do not fall out. But that's what we do. It's like, no, stay. Our brains don't like change, you know? And I think sometimes like doing exposure therapy and like putting ourselves in situations that inevitably will change builds up that resilience to go, wait a second, nothing is stagnant in the world. Everything changes. Those relationships will change. The business will change. The kids will change. I'm like, you know, you have 2 little ones, you see it. They're changing every single day. And so how can we increase our capacity for change so that it doesn't spin us out and we lose our alignment? Because as soon as we lose our alignment, it's like, it's done. And I love that story of you and your husband. It's like, if that all did not happen, y'all wouldn't be on this track of just like collaborating and connecting and just having this beautiful, amazing life together. You know, it's like, how can we trust that the breakdowns are leading us to our greatest breakthrough, even if we can't see it? How can we just assume that it's coming? Like having this like childlike wonder. You know, Eric and I are getting married in October, and it's just been really beautiful to go through the last year of like leading up to the wedding. And, you know, just knowing that like every little breakdown that we have is transforming our relationship, our connection into something so much more beautiful. It's like we're excavating all of the old stuff and patterns and things that like have kept us stuck and coming into deeper states of connection and love and all the rest of it. And it's just beautiful. And if we can just be uncomfortable and know that this is for us, happening for us in perfect timing, it eases the nervous system so we can just have some like that feeling of just rest and trust in our nervous systems.
Parenthood has been such a catalyst for that understanding, because I think I assumed that the more kids people had, the better parents they would be. But what I've understood is they just increase their capacity to hold the chaos. Like they stop. I saw this reel once, and it was just like, we only hang out with families with 3, 4, 5 kids. It's like 1 kid, they're way too stressed out. 2 kids, they have too much going on. 3 kids, you just sort of let go of it. And it's 100% true. Even noticing with 2,
Yeah.
we keep asking, wait, is this child easier, or are we handling parenthood with more ease? And I can't tell you, because it is just so much easier, but I'm not like, this is going to sound horrible. Yesterday he was just like playing with the outlet. And I'm like, I don't run over. I'm just like, Maven, why do you always play with the outlet? You know?
Oh my God.
Game right now, but you're kind of like, how bad? It was like Googling like, how badly can a baby get electrocuted? Is it just like a minor shock, or will it cause permanent?
I love you so much. I feel like I'm going to be a mom like you. Like, wait, electricity? Do babies get electrocuted? I don't know. They'll figure that out. We'll figure
like a zzz, or is it like, do I have to take you to the doctor because that's going to determine my next move here?
Oh my God, I love you. That's so funny. You know, it's funny that you said that thing about the parent thing, because Eric and I don't have kids yet, but when we hang out with our friends who have 1 kid, it's actually stressful. I'm like, guys, he's not going to die. Just like let him fall down a little bit. Like, it's okay. Of course, like this is all internal talk, because like if you don't have kids, you're not allowed to say shit about parenting.
No, but I agree with that. And I mean, our first one, it was just like everything was like, it was just overprotecting him. Now the second one, it's like, well, my first one's injuring my second one all the time. Like he's the one pushing him off the stool. It's such this, like, I don't know. I'm like, but one of the people I love the most is actually injuring the other person I love the most. Do I get mad? Like, I have no idea how to react here.
I'm so conflicted.
Sometimes it's almost easier when, I wouldn't say easier, but there is a more noticeable trigger when there's a big, giant chaos happening.
Yeah.
Because if you've done some sort of work, you know, okay, well, this is a big moment. How am I going to show up to this? Like, you might automatically have a slowdown. I find that sometimes it's more difficult with the day to day because there's not this big glaring thing being like, hey, stop and let's figure out how to manage this.
Totally.
What are some of your processes for just making sure that your life is flowing in alignment, that you're following that inner voice, that you're coming back to yourself versus just accidentally falling into autopilot because you've set things up so well?
It's a great question. It's a great question. I think routine is so important. Like what the mistake that I've made in my life when it comes to my personal development and spiritual development is when things are going really good, sometimes I don't do my spiritual practices. I'm just like, things are amazing. They're always going to be amazing. I don't need to journal or meditate or do all that. Like, it's like I kind of like lose it a little bit. And then things begin to get rocky and I'm like, shoot, I shouldn't have done that. Like, so what keeps me aligned, what keeps me connected is having ritual every single day and having this like more or less the same routine of how I reconnect back to myself, how I reconnect back to God, universe, life force, and just staying consistent with that because life is unpredictable and life is uncertain always, but we can control our controllables. Like it's completely up to me if I do these rituals or not. It's not determined by like typically not determined by anything outside, unless like something happens and it really needs my attention. But 95% of the time, I can control the controllables. And doing that allows me to have a clear mind to be able to weather the storms that come and just catch the balls that I was not expecting and just deal with the problems that arise on a daily basis. And so it's just really important to have that structure. It's like I know when I do, it's like a formulaic at this point. It's like I know when I do 20 minutes of breath work, I'm going to feel this. Why would I not do that every single day? That's the one thing that I'm I don't waver on is my breathwork practice every single day because I see the benefits of it constantly. But there's other things where I'm like, even like with working out, like I know, I absolutely know I am a much better, more loving, more compassionate person when I do 60 minutes of rigorous workout every single day. If I don't do that, I'm like, I just get irritated. People just irritate me, It's like I know the gift that I get to give myself and everyone else around me is that. So yeah, it's like really knowing like what are the formulaic things that I can start really being committed to in my life that give me the result that I say I want to be in.
I finally developed those sets of routines, like knew myself from the inside out of these are the things that I need. Some of those things were like, I had to do a good yoga practice, not like 20 minutes of YouTube, but like go to the hot yoga class
Yeah.
like 5 times a week, a long walk, some audiobook meditation. The way my life was around, what year was that? Like pre 2020, it was just very like living into all of the things that made me feel blessed, like the reasons that I wanted to live, really.
Right.
And then I had kids and I remember thinking like, none of this is going to change. And I'm actually pretty proud of myself in that I do keep those things. I stay active and whatever. But
dude, that's amazing.
what it looks like changes. Like now it's a good 30-minute Peloton workout with a shorter yoga thing or something like that 3 times a week. And so I had to be okay with redefining what I thought were my non-negotiables. And so it's like, my non-negotiable was an hour of yoga. Is it an hour of yoga or is it an hour of movement? And being okay that it might be a stroller walk. I could put on ankle weights if I'm really feeling spicy.
That's so funny. I want to see that.
Yeah, I might get a weighted vest. My husband has one. But and so I think there's also something to be said about the definitions that we make for what we need. And allowing ourselves to redefine those in a way that's more flexible with different stages of life. Because I don't know if I'll be doing 30 minutes 3 times a week when I'm 80 on the Peloton.
Yeah.
Me now thinks yes.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be a flight suit. Who knows? What year will that be?
Right. Right.
Will
We'll
we
have like AI people working out for us or something. Or something. I don't know how that would work.
My avatar is really fit, but my human needs some work.
My human needs some work. My human needs to get her ass to the gym. Yeah, and I think it always like it all comes back down for me. How do I want to feel?
Yeah.
You know, because it's like I think we can get a little like rigorous and rigid sometimes with like I got to do this and I got to do this. But at the end of the day, it's like, what's the experience that I desire to feel, and what are the activities that I know are like predictably going to get me there? And so some of the like core desired feelings that I want to feel is I want to feel this sense of like lightness and joy every single day. I want to feel in my humor, like I'm like cracking jokes and I'm not taking life so seriously. I want to feel embodied. I want to feel that feeling of self-love rippling through every single cell of my body. I want to feel strong. I want to feel like I'm taking care of my vessel. I'm taking care of my body. I want to feel like I am operating from overflow. I'm not operating from an under-resourced nervous system that's overstimulated constantly. I'm operating from this rested place of overflow. And so it's really about getting so clear, and it's going to be different. Like my rituals of what activates that energy for me is going to be different than every single person on this call. There's no one here listening to this podcast.
The call
So,
from the universe is what it is.
yeah, exactly. We're actually in the 5D right now, reporting live.
I think when I look back at my understanding of different practices, I remember realizing how important it was to tune into myself and actually ask, like, what is it that you need right now? But then another shift happened just a few years ago, I think, where I realized that quite often that question, even though I'm trying to tune into myself, is engaging my analytical mind in the process.
Right.
And so suddenly it was like, well, it would be like, I need this. And all of a sudden, all these shoulds came in. And they might have been really grounded shoulds, things that I've learned about myself over time. But if I would have just let go of even asking and just did, I would have realized all I need right now is to feel. All I need right now is to release. And that's all it ever is. And the moment that I ask that question, I'm opening a window to potentially wrap up a story that may or may not need to be there for this process to happen.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that you just named that. I love that you just named that. We can get so emotionally constipated where, we have a story in our mind. That story is cultivating and creating an energetic loop in our body. And that energetic loop is distorting reality and convincing us that this thing is so real and so emotional. And it's like not even true at all. And so when we deal with the emotionality, and when I say deal, I mean process, when we process the emotionality that is stuck in our bodies, what happens is the story dissipates because it has nothing to grip onto. If my nervous system is regulated and I'm calm and I'm just grounded, there's not going to be a story of, oh my God, you're crazy. What are you doing? Everything's going to fail. What are you like? It's all your fault. Blah, 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 blah. Like all of those things. It's just like, there's nothing to grip onto. And so rather than trying to fight the story and be like, well, that story is not true because I am great. And like, look at this. And it's like, yes. And we have to go first to the body, like that morning practice that I shared earlier, right? We got to go to the body first. Let's get to the body first. Let's breathe. Let's unhook the stagnant, triggered, activated energy. Let's let it liberate. The body knows how to heal itself. We just have to let it, right? The body knows how to heal itself. And then once we do that, then we flood with all of the good things, right? Like, the truth is this, the truth is this, I'm grateful for this, I'm great. Then we go there. But if we go there without addressing the energetics that are living in the body that feels so dang real, then we're going to have energetic contrast. The body's going to be telling one story, the mind's going to be trying to tell another to get us out of this experience, and it's just creating resistance. So we got to go to the body first, release the story, and then flood it with a new story.
Right, because it's like you're trying to talk yourself out of something that's there. And so then you create this extra resistance because you're arguing with yourself.
Yes.
It's like trying to write a new book on top of the pages that are already written. You first
100%.
have to like get a blank page. You have to release, process it, let the energy of it go, and then start to rewrite that story for yourself.
Exactly.
Then you rebuild that reality so that it actually feels embodied. You made the space to do so.
Exactly. Yeah, the human experience is wild, dude. And I think we're just scratching the surface of what it means to somatically heal. And, when I first started out in this industry in personal development 15 years ago, I started off as a mindset coach. My mentors were like Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, like I would follow the works of like Zig Ziglar, everything. It's like that's all very like mindset based. And the more I went on my own healing journey, the more I understood that this somatic experience is so important. And we can't change our mind without changing our body, or we'll change our mind and then the body will just take over because there's more evidence. It's more ingrained. And those patterns are just there. And sometimes they're patterns from childhood. Sometimes those patterns got passed on to us from our parents. Sometimes it's from past lives, for those of you who believe in that. It's like they're in there. And we have to excavate, we have to heal, we have to release, and we can't just be a mind game. And if we do just make it a mind game, we're gonna get exhausted, we're gonna get frustrated, we're gonna get overwhelmed. And that's, homie, don't play that game,
I remember in the beginning of everything, in the beginning of time, I really feel like I've lived so many lives. It's like
Yeah.
this life, the one where it started from this book and it's been on the upward progression instead of ripping out the pages, trying again.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I had this moment. I was at a Paul Selig event, and I raised my hand and I asked him, like, what do I need next? I was in this period of, and it's something I can still fall back into. And that's my grounded work, is all remembering, stop reaching outside of yourself for the next certification, the next thing. Trust that you already have the answers here. But Paul Selig said to me, he used his psychic skills to go into my into my being. And he's just like, you're a little bit like this, a little bit of that. You just keep going. And he basically said to me, you need to stop doing and start being. And I was like, oh, that's deep. What the fuck does that mean? And I spent a really long time like trying to figure out what that meant. And now, like I said, it's still my work. It's what I have to remember to do. And it confuses people when I bring it up, because they're like, but what do you mean? If I'm going to have the type of success that you found or that I envision for myself, there's going to be a lot of doing in that.
Right.
What would you
Right.
say to somebody
Right.
who's dealing with that?
It requires a titrated experience. We live in a culture where it's constantly do. Our worth is tied to our achievements. What can I do better? How can I do better? And even like throughout the school system, right? The school system is designed in that way. Did you ever learn about energy in school? Did you ever learn about, how to clear your, like, no, it's like we were like, work really hard. It's like very industrial, like it's from like the industrial revolution. It's like that's still being mirrored to us every single day. It's like I wake up, I do this, I go through the motions, and we've lost the art of energy. We've lost the art of soma, the body. We're so mind focused and intelligence driven from the mind that we've lost the intelligence that lives in the body. Not lost it, but we need to remember it. It's still there, but we have to attune to it. We have to remember it. And so for someone listening, they're like, Sam, this sounds amazing, but like, what are you talking about? Like, my biggest thing is approach moving from doing to being with a sense of curiosity. Approach it from the sense of like, if I let my intuition guide my next decision, let's just see what happens. First started to refeel, and what I mean by that is because I mostly lived my life in a state of numbness and anxiety. I think I talked about that on a previous show of yours a couple years ago, but it was like I really just swung from numbness to anxiety, anxiety to numbness. And so when people were like, "What's your intuition say?" I'm like, "I don't have one. Like I don't know." And so when I began my process of refeeling, it was this process of learning to feel this intelligence that lives in my body. And I would do it with little things, it's like, should I wear this or this today? Like things that didn't matter, like seemingly insignificant things. Should I wear this or this? And I would just feel, and I would just attune to this outfit and this outfit. And whatever one my body was like, ah, that was the one that I would choose. And I wouldn't question it. I would just go with it. And once I started making these decisions with things that really didn't matter, what should I wear? What grocery store should I go to? What should I eat today? Should I call this person or not? Like, then I began to integrate it into things that were actually of more substance. Should I break up with this person? Should I stay with this person? Should I take that job? Should I not take that job? Should I become a speaker? Should I not become a speaker? Should I start a podcast? So then I started to like use my intuition in my business. And then today I'm using it for like bigger things, but we got to start small because we have to, evidence builds trust. Yeah. So we have to start small to build that evidence of like, oh, my intuition said this, I did that. Here's the results. And it was a good outcome. We have to keep building that and building that over time. So just starting really small and really, this is another little tactic that I used is I would ask myself obvious yes questions. I would go, is my name Sam? Do I live in Vancouver? Right. I lived at the time. Do I love tacos? I would just ask myself like obvious yes questions. And I would just feel my body go, yes, yes. And then I would ask myself obvious no questions, right? Is my name Melissa? No. Do I live in Big Bear? No. Right. And I could just feel the no's in my system. And so that's how I kind of learned visceral intelligence, right? Which is our body's way of communicating to us. Our body communicates in sensations. Our mind communicates in thoughts, right? We hear our thoughts all day long, blah, 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 blah. And most of the time they're just garbage thoughts and they're not true. But our body doesn't have that. Our body doesn't have those garbage thoughts that are not true. Our body is so intelligent. We just have to quiet down the mind enough to really hear it. And so it really starting out small, titrating the experience and learning that evidence builds trust over time. Evidence builds confidence over time.
And that evidence is so important because, like I'm constantly reminding people, our brains have a negativity bias. It's
Yes.
not that you're not capable, you can't do this, you're not worthy. It's that you possibly have not yet understood exactly how your brain works. Because once you know, no, it doesn't actually have meaning. I'm not thinking that over and over again because it's my truth. It's because that's what I'm used to allowing myself to ruminate on. I have not yet harnessed the power of consciously reprogramming my thoughts for a better action. And then once you start to do that and you actually do just dwell a little bit on the positive effects, which is just so important no matter what habit you are developing. This is how I came back to meditation. Instead of sitting there consistently allowing myself to think, oh my God, the next 10 minutes are going to be so boring. How am I going to sit there without anything? I had to sit there and be like, oh, I've made it after 10 minutes. How do I actually feel right now? This is lighter. That I have to admit, I feel better than when I started.
Yes.
Let me dwell on that so that the next time I'm coming to this, I stop thinking about that pre-misery and getting myself to do it. And I start to connect the activity with the benefit of how I feel at the end. Same with running. Nobody's like, oh my God, I'd love to be out of breath right now and like feel like I'm tired and don't want to move anymore but be forced to. Like they think, oh, that runner's high that kicks in after the first mile, like
I have yet to experience that runner's high people talk about. It's still excruciating for me, but apparently it's real.
It's there. Well, thank you so much for my personal energy boost of the day. I just love talking to you. Where can people connect with all of your amazing things? I love your Pause app. I know that you do facilitator trainings for people who want to go even deeper. Tell us about all of the lovely things you have.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just love hanging out with you. You're just so fun. And it's just such a joy to like create with you. So thank you for having me on. It's been amazing. So my company is called Pause Breathwork. For those of you who are interested in breath work and learning how to clear anxiety and stress using your breath, we have an app. It's a free 14-day trial. Just search Pause Breathwork in the App Store, and it's a little orange logo. So that's on the App Store. For those of you who want to become breathwork facilitators, pausebreathwork.com. You can apply to become a breathwork facilitator on there. And then my Instagram is @Samantha Skelly, and I share all things breathwork, all things somatic healing, all things energy, and it's a good time over there.
All the links for this episode will be at mindlove.com/363. Your challenge for this week is to play with your intuition. Like Sam said, start small. What's really helpful is tuning into your body and asking yourself questions that you already know the answers to, and see how your body responds. So, take a deep breath, close your eyes, and ask yourself, is my name Karen? Notice if you feel anything in your body. Do you feel a contraction or an expansion? And if you don't feel anything, that's fine. Keep playing with it. It reminds me of this journey I'm on with my toes. Let me explain. So I have been on a barefoot shoe movement. I only wear barefoot style shoes. If you know, you know. But I was having major foot problems, and I had them for years. And I was actually thinking, oh my gosh, I'm in my early 30s. What happens when I have kids? Will I not be able to walk around barefoot with them? I literally could not walk barefoot for years. Turns out all those high heels and those squishy toed shoes destroyed my feet. It's coming for you. If you are not aware of it yet, don't think that it can't happen to you. I thought it couldn't happen to me. Anyways, so I would have to wear super padded shoes. Turns out I was just atrophying my foot muscles even more. Long story short, I had no mobility in my toes. I thought that was a normal thing. And now I've discovered exercises where I'm trying to push down my big toes and raise the other ones, and then switch. Push down all the other toes and raise the big toes. Well, it feels like I don't have that connection to my muscles. It feels very difficult for me. I can do part of it, but I can't do the other part, and it just feels impossible. It's kind of like when you try to raise one eyebrow and you just don't have that muscle where it's easy for everyone else. Well, you need to connect the brain signal with the muscle. Everyone has the muscle. Everyone can do it. So the same thing is true with your intuition. It might not feel like it's there. It might not feel like you're getting body signals, but just hold the faith and keep trying and intending and telling yourself that you can. Really watch your thoughts around this. So I want to know how this journey goes for you. Reach out to me on Instagram at mindlovemelissa if you want to talk about it. Don't forget, the one and only Mind Love Retreat is happening next month. As of recording this, we have only one spot left. Reach out to me if you would like to claim that spot. It's going to be absolutely epic. I'm getting all of our goodie bags ready, nailing down the itinerary. It's just going to be so exciting. So that information is at mindlove.com/retreat. And that's all for today. So thanks for giving your mind a little love today, and I'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning into Your Higher Frequency with Mind Love. Head to mindlove.com for a free gift to keep your vibes up until next week.